morning, beloveds. So, it's Friday the 13th. I'm not a horror movie fan. I know nothing about the horror movie fan, but Friday the 13th has a really bad reputation. And, well, it should, not because of the horror movies, but because somewhere in the Middle Ages, the King of France got jealous of the Templars because the Templars had gotten a lot of money and a lot of power. And the Templars were a religious organization. They actually started the banking organizations, which is really cool because they would guard, they were priests, but they were warriors because they would guard pilgrims on pilgrimages. And the way they started the banking industry is basically a pilgrim could go in, turn their money in at a Templar outpost. They would get a chit, a written note, and then when they got to the next outpost, they could turn in the chit for however much money they needed. Right? So, but basically the King of France colluded with the Pope at the time, and they accused them of all kinds of really awful things, none of which were true, I'm quite sure. It's history. But the letters to go and arrest the Templars were all opened at the same time on a Friday the 13th. So if you ever wanted to know why Friday the 13th has such an ugly reputation, it's because the King of France and the Pope got together and basically destroyed a religious order. That's why. Now you know. The more you know. Is that LeVar Burton, The More You Know? From Reading Rainbow? So, speaking of which, let's get on with this, because we have a really interesting title. It is October 13th. Our title is Do You Work for a Living? ? And our author is Harriet Hale Ricks, and it is from The Rich Mentality from 1916. There is no known copyright in effect, which means it may be available on as a PDF. So you might want to look into it. Okay. Do you work for a living? It is a mistake to work for a living. To work this way is to be a slave under dominion to the laws of slavery. Never work for a living. How can you gain a life? Life is. You cannot pay for it. You have no price to give in exchange for life, for your breath, for your being. You are not here to work by strenuous effort to make life. You are here under the blessing of God to live a life of wholesome, loving kindness, of success and goodwill towards each other, and the bringing out of your own nature, the divine self. God lives in you every moment. If you are conscious that God is your very life and being, you will not work to express it in terms of mortal consciousness, in dollars and cents and salary. You will no longer serve the old world concept of prosperity. What you do, you will do with your might in service of principle. Like Brother Lawrence, he did not work for a living. He worked to express God by living in so attractive of a way as to draw other people to the divine life. The kitchen of that monastery where he cooked was more magnetic than any other part of the whole concern. He was rich towards God and people, and not like an ox driven by the duties demanded of him. He was a man serving a great principle, and he lived in security. Okay. Wow. Every now and again, Reverend Jesse will get off into these thoughts. And because New Thought can get a little focused on prosperity, he will get off into these. So how do we appeal to anybody other than people who, basically middle class and up? How do we appeal to people who work for a living? And that's that's immediately what I thought of when I read that article. It's like, I see what she's doing. What Harriet is doing is she's expanding the definition of prosperity. As she said, it's not just about money. And then she gives you an example of Brother Lawrence. I'm going to tell you that, and I think I know who Brother Lawrence is, but I'm not absolutely sure. But he is clearly a monk who lived in a monastery who cooked. And I'm going to tell you, he probably worked very hard in that kitchen. Because cooking it's hot work, it's messy work, it's, and you're constantly, when you are cooking, you are constantly having to clean up behind yourself. Because trust me, if you don't clean up while you're doing, So I know that lesson. You clean while you cook. And so she's not saying he didn't work. And she's not saying that his work wasn't hard. What she is saying is why he did it. He did all of that hard work for, now, it seems, the only problem with using a monk is I don't know that they get salaries. They're not paid. I mean, they are, but I don't know how. So, because their needs are met by the monastery. What she is reminding us is that he did that. He chose to cook with love. He chose to put all of his expression of love into his food, which she is saying that all of the work that the monastery is doing to draw people to God, all of the work that they are doing, he was the most successful because the very work that he did in feeding people was, that's why he didn't consider what he was doing work, because what he was doing was serving God. And it was serving God by serving people. And almost every single job out there that we do get paid dollars and cents for can be looked at that way. Whether or not we choose to, that may be, and that may be in essence where she is going. I work Monday through Friday in a health food store. And you will hear the owner of the store that I work for say that this is her ministry. Because our goal is to help people feel better. And while none of us are millionaires, we all very much enjoy our jobs. And yes, some days it's hard. Because like last week, we got this incredibly big order. And so it was very labor intensive, but it was bringing in, checking in, and putting away product that will help people feel better. So even there, it's still not work. Would I do it for free if all my needs were met? Probably. But in this day and age, we understand we've got bills to pay. We've got needs that have to be met. So I think that's when we read passages like this, it's a reminder to us to look at the work we do and see how we are expressing God through the work that we do. So it's not just about the paycheck. I'm never going to tell you that the work you do is not about the paycheck. Okay? I understand. There's a whole lot of people out there who do jobs not because they love them, but they do them for the paycheck. So the question that Harriet is asking us is there a way that we can look at the job that we are doing for the paycheck to meet our needs and use it as a way to express God? Because, and this is the science of mind thinking, if we are doing whatever it is that we are doing to express principle, then we will be more successful at it. And it really does all come down to attitude. It does come down to attitude. So if you have a job that you love, I commend you, because most likely you are successfully expressing God. You are successfully expressing livingness through the job that you do, And if you have a job that you don't love, is there a way that you can express God? And I'm not talking about going out and preaching to people. That is not what I'm talking about. God forbid, I will not proselytize to people in my job. I don't do that. But what I do is my goal is to help them feel better. Okay. To express more livingness. That is how I express God in my job. So if you're in a job that you don't feel that way about, can you find a way to do that? Your other option is, in the end, God is the ultimate supply. Be on the lookout for something that will meet your needs and allow you to express that livingness. That, be on the lookout for it. Tell God that's what you want. I did have a situation where I was really unhappy in a job, and I wrote out my wishes for a new job. And the interesting thing is that the job that I was in shifted. Some personnel shifted around, some job responsibilities shifted around, and suddenly I got what I wanted without having to leave the job that I was at. So that's one of the things. It literally can be a shift in attitude. So the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is, let's see, God lives in you in every moment. If you are conscious that God is your very life and being, you will not work to express it in terms of mortal consciousness. Okay, that's it. You will no longer serve the old world concept of prosperity. So what we're looking at is a new world concept of prosperity. What you will do with all your might in service of the principle, like Brother Lawrence, okay? I thought there was one. The mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to live a life of wholesome, loving kindness, of success and goodwill towards each other, and bringing out of your own nature the divine self. The mission today, should you choose to accept it, is to find a way to express your divine self in your work. That's it. That's it. Whatever it is that you do to meet your needs for that paycheck, find a way to express your divine self. And see if that shift in attitude doesn't shift the way you feel about what you do for a living. Okay? New thought can get a little weird. So that's my suggestion. Because we all have to have our needs met. Let's see if we can't express the divine principle while we are doing what we need to do to get our needs met. Okay? That's the mission. The other mission is the same mission I give you every day, which is the mission, the spiritual practice of self-care. Do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself. As I said, sometimes if you look at your job and you lay out, this is what I want in my job, sometimes the job you have will shift. And sometimes a new job will come up. So sometimes the most loving, kind, and compassionate thing you can do for yourself is to look at your job and go, this is what I like about my job. This is what I don't like about my job. This is what I want in the work that I do. Okay? And then give that to God. Do a treatment. Ask people who care about you to treat for you for these particular things, and watch how it shifts. It could and sometimes maybe it's just a shift in your attitude. it works. I've seen it work. I've seen it work on, all of those different levels. So it's possible. And the most loving, kind, and compassionate thing you can do for yourself is to enjoy what you do. Honestly. So, take the steps that you need to express your divine self through your job. All right, beloveds. I'm going to take a deep breath and remind the rest of the love, kindness. You know that I'm encouraging you to create a well-worn path to the source of your own being, which is the source of infinite love, kindness, and compassion. You know I say you are your own best test subject because you get immediate feedback. You know that I'm encouraging you to create a habit, a first response of love, kindness, and compassion. And you also know that I say this because I believe that you are a beloved child of God and you deserve your own love, kindness, and compassion. Practice on yourself. All right. I also encourage you, as I say, eat dessert first. 1, chocolate is the first step to fixing anything, in my opinion. You don't have to believe it, but I do. But what I'm saying is your life is a special occasion. Treat it as such. Don't save the good stuff. Go ahead and go out of your way to make the ordinary extraordinary a little more often. Wear the fancy clothes. I am going to wear fancy clothes to a gala, which is a fundraising thing, on Saturday. And it's going to be fun. So, that's the only thing I didn't work out. Got to work out that hat thing. Okay. Well, I do have that. Never mind. Just don't mind me. All right. But that's what I'm talking about. Do something that pushes you a little out of your comfort zone. Say yes, or remember that no is a complete sentence. So if you're going to say no to something that's just really draining you, you don't have to say why you're saying no. Just say no and stand in your truth. I also want to remind you that joy is a quality of God. Since we're talking about love, kindness, and compassion, practicing on ourselves, joy is a quality of God. Therefore, joy is a quality of you. No matter what is going on in the world, no matter what is going on in your life, you still deserve joy. So make room for that. And if a little piece of chocolate is joy for you, then hey, there you go. That works because, And I started saying that because I realized in the last 3 years, 1, it feels like the world's gone nuts. And it's like every time we turn around, there's something going on. Well, you know what? You still deserve joy. The world is still going to be nuts. You can have that joy. Make room for it. It's the hope we need to get through the craziness. All right, beloveds. The rest of the suggestions, do something to engage your mind and your body, whatever that looks like for you. Drink plenty of water. I heard we might get to 92 today. I'm not happy about that. I was hoping that we had shut the door on the 90s. Hydrate. Your body works better. Your brain works better. Your skin looks better when you are well hydrated. And get that early in your day bright light. I haven't been outside yet because today is my rest day. But I did get up and move around the house and we moved some stuff. I'm bound and determined to get these 2 rooms looking like not storage rooms, but actual rooms in the house before my brother gets here. And I got about 3 weeks. So yeah, progress. But 7 to 9 in the morning, bright light. Sunlight is best because it supports your vitamin D and, the hormone balance. But artificial light will work too. So if you get up before the sun or after that 7 to 9 sweet spot for the sunlight, artificial light will work too. You'll have more energy during the day. You'll sleep better at night. So, all right. I open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you that heaven is all around us all the time. I think I just screwed that quote up. I say it every day. It's an Ernest Holmes quote. Open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you do live in heaven. It's right here, right now, all around us all the time. There we go. And one of the best ways to find heaven, because here's what that quote tells us. Because Jesus said it. The kingdom of God is within you. The kingdom of heaven is within you. What that quote tells us is that heaven is a state of mind. It is a state of consciousness. Once you recognize that it is a state of consciousness, a state of mind, then you realize it's a place. You don't have to work to get to a place. It's not a physical place. Take Emma's advice. Look for the good and praise it. Gratitude is one of the best ways to get to that heavenly mindset. Once you learn to create it for yourself, nobody can take it away from you. That's why it's a state of grace. We all come pre-installed with everything we need to create that mindset. It's called the Christ consciousness. Yeah, you've heard me talk about it before. We already have it pre-installed. That's why it's grace. You already have it. Why it's a superpower is because once you learn to do it for yourself, nobody can take it away from you. All right. I'm going to leap on into, listen to Emma, look for the good, praise it. It's science. Gratitude, like a gratitude journal, random acts of kindness, and volunteer work will change your mindset. It will change your mood, literally. You can look it up. It's science. Just like the circadian rhythm. Science. Who is that in my head? I think it comes out of a song from the 80s. Science! Okay. Just one of my little quirks. Social media. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark. I am the Reading Reverend on the social medias that I am on. I encourage you to go back, and there are hours and hours of content on both YouTube channels and both Facebook pages. And I do try and, goose the Instagram occasionally. When Facebook became Meta and started acquiring all of this, sharing them across the platforms got a little more difficult. So I still tried though. All right, beloveds. And the email is info@creativelife.org. That will get you on our constant contact. Those hot links are hot. If it says click here now, it'll take you right to the information you want, i.e. our Soul Session playlist on YouTube. And that's a fantastic playlist. It'll take you right there, or to the person that can help you get it. So feel free to avail yourself of all of that. I am now at the part where I get to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonder-filled day, an awesome day, an amazing day, a question yourself day, a express your livingness day, a explore what it is in your job day, a remember who your source is day, a expect the changes day, respect your attitude day, a don't worry about Friday the 13th day, a good day, and if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. You are enough, just as you are. You are a beloved child of God, in whom God is well pleased and well represented. You are a divine spark, a brilliant light. You are spirit in motion. You are God in action. Or as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you're a godling. All right, beloveds. Know the truth of your being. And if you don't know the truth of your being, explore the truth of your being. And the truth of your being has nothing to do with society, culture, religion, gender normatives, what people have who people have told you you are. It has nothing to do with any of that. Peel all that layer off and get to know who God knows you to be. All right? That is the point of spiritual practice. To get that connection so that you know who it is that God knows you to be. I promise you that person is good and that person is really cool. So go explore the truth of your being. All right, beloveds. Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I will be back with you around 9 a.m. It is Friday, which means I get to go to the park tomorrow. And I am going to go to the Renaissance Festival, but not until almost noon. So I'll do this as usual. All right, beloveds. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved. And I will see you next time.